Hello everyone, a warm good evening to all of you. Would like to welcome to all this our YouTube channel. Hope you all are good. As mentioned on the screen that we are going to discuss comparative politics, nature and scope. It's going to important for all those are preparing specific to the SSB, TGT, PGT and UGC net. Okay, we are here to discuss about the comparative politics nature and scope with specific to our examination. We'll discuss the previous year question, and on that basis we'll try to understand the pattern of question, the expected question in the examination, and what will be the things we need to focus. We are going to discuss. So on this note, let's start. So as I said, we are here for comparative politics, nature and scope. Okay, nature and scope. Before starting, would like to tell you that this video might be long, and there is a lot of things which I am going to cover. After that, you will realize it's very important and it will be ensure to you to score in the examination. Okay, so here our purpose with specific to the examination only, we will discuss those things which can be converted in the basically questioning. Okay, we are not here to do the comprehensively study of the comparative politics. Let me clear you, we will be limitize ourselves up to the examinations. So hope you all agree with this point. And before starting our lecture, let's understand the homework questions of last session. The question, in which year National People Congress, that means NPC, okay, National People Congress, that is the parliament, okay, the parliament of China, as the highest organ of the China was created. Okay, year of the creation. And the option like here, and the answer of this question is option B, 1954. Yes, 1954. And this is the question and this is the answer, and most of the guys provided the answer in comment section. I really appreciate to their dedication and the participative attitudes that motivate me a lot. I feel I also learn with you. Okay, so thank you so much for giving the answer. They also provide the correct answer. Okay, so thank you for being part of it, and hope in future the other guys will also participate in such homework question, because it is only for you. Okay, so I can understand that most of are not ready to expose them in the YouTube. So it's also correct, because they not want to show, okay, their privacy. So there is not any kind of wrong, but at least we know the answer of this question. That is our objective. Okay, so that is the things. So let's start our discussion of the today. First we will discuss the those question which comes the under comparative politics nature and scope. That's previous year question that ask in your SSB, and on that basis we will understand, not only understand the question solve, but also we will focus those area which helpful to us to revise and secure the score in our examination. Because if you know, each and every year the question are coming from comparative politics nature and scope, and it's a very scoring unity, we can't ignore it. So let's start. So question in front of you, the Almond and Coleman classified the political culture. Okay. So broadly into what? Option A, two types. B 3 types, C 4 types, and D 5 types. Okay, so you can provide the answer. If you know the answer of this question is option B. Okay, but there is a mistakes in question. You will ask what is the mistakes. Almond and Coleman did not classify the political culture. It is the Almond and Sidney Verba, they classified the political culture into what? Participative, starting from the parochial culture, subjective culture, and participative culture. So Almond and Sydney. Okay, this question should be like Almond and Sydney classified political culture into three types. Okay, so three types. What are that? As I mentioned to you, subjective, parochial, subjective, and participative. Okay, so we need to understand the political culture by Almond, Gabriel Almond, and Sydney Verba. What is political culture? How they describe, how they understand it. So we will discuss that things. Moving to the next question. The behavioral movement in political science was directed against. So it's the behavioral movement. Okay. Option A individual theory, B traditional theory, C postmodern approach, D Rawlsian theory. Okay, you can provide the answer. But before that, we need to understand the question. So behavioral movement in political science. You know, the comparative politics is the part of the subdiscipline as a subdivision of the political science, and within that there is a different approaches and different phases in comparative politics to study the comparative politics. And behavioral movement, it's like the among the approaches to study the comparative politics. So it is started when and against whom, that is the questions. Okay, the behavioral movements originate against what? Okay, that is the question. So what is the answer of this question? Hope you all know traditional approach. So we will discuss the all important approaches in comparative politics, how they emerge, what is their logic. Okay, what the meaning of traditional approach, behavioral approach, political culture approach, structural functional approach, modernization approach. We will discuss different things. Okay, so that is the basically logic of these questions. Hope you understand. Moving to the next question. Next question: what are the major features of traditional approach to the study of comparative politics as Ray McCready? Okay, so see, Ray McCready criticized the traditional approaches to the comparative politics, and he classified and he described the traditional politic. What is the traditional political approach? Okay, so we need to find out the answer, correct answer. You can provide the correct answer, and the answer of this question is option D. Okay, it has been essentially a non-comparative, descriptive, parochial, monographic, static. Okay, so this is the five features uh, described by Roy McCready with respect to traditional approaches to the comparative politics. So we need to understand the different thinkers, what they argue, and how they basically uh, the explains. Okay, and belongs to which political approaches to the comparative politics. Okay, we will discuss that thing, and it's very important to understand traditional approach. Okay, what is traditional approach? Traditional approach are those approach which believes in idea of what? The Eurocentric in nature, the institutional study, the legal study, the constitutional based study, not the culture. Okay, it's not, the culture is not the part of it, but the institution, the constitutional legal study is a part of it. So we will discuss this thing also in theory. Moving to the next question, it's a statement, it's an important statement. Okay, question is talk about who has defined comparative politics as a discipline that deals with the very essence of the politics, where sovereignty reside in the state, the question of the power between the groups, the institutional organization of the political system, and authoritative decision that affect the whole of the community. Who said these statements? So option A Jean Blondel, Daniel Karamani, J.G. Lathams, and Sir Henry Maine. So if you know, you can provide the answer, but the answer of this question is option B Daniel Karamani. You will ask, uh, does it possible to remember the lot of statement said by different thinker? I will say no. And we don't require to remember these statements. We have to remember the statement of the important scholars like Daniel Karavani, like your Ronald Chilcott. Okay, these are the important scholars. Their statement is important. They can ask in questions, so that we need to remember. Okay, as you all humans, and it is not possible to remember all the statements. Okay. So we will limitize ourselves to specific things here. So what is the statement says? The statement is talks about the sovereignty with the states, and it is not with the interest group, and there is authoritative decisions taken by the political institution like the state include legislative, executive and judiciary. It's not the interest group. So this is how the basically described by Daniel Karavani. Will discuss the important things what the Daniel Karavani understand the comparative politics and different books, because he is the legend in the study of comparative politics. So we need to cover Daniel Karavani. Okay, we will also discuss the idea or perspectives of Jean Blondel in the study of comparative politics. Okay, moving to the next, which of the following was a leading contributor to the development of behavioralism? Like behavioralism is a what? The ideology, and it is started during the second World War. Okay, after the decolonizations. Okay, so who is the basically school of study responsible for that? Option A, French, London, Harvard or Chicago. Okay, what is the answers? Hope you all know the answer. Option D is the answer of this question, that behavioralism like belongs to the Chicago schools. Okay, behavioralism belongs to the Chicago school after the second World War. As we know that in 1950s this basically study being started. Okay, and it's Charles E. Merriam considered as the intellectual father of behavioralism, who wrote a book, New Aspect of the Politics. We will discuss there also a question. Like here you can see in which year the Charles Merriam book, New Aspect of Politics, was basically written. Okay, so 22, 25, 23, 26. What is the answer? You can provide the answer, but the correct answer of this question, hope you all know, option B is the answer. You will ask, sir, like we need to remember all the year of the each and every book? No, I will say no. So you need to remember the few year of the few book which are important, like Charles E. Merriam, the intellectual father of the behavioralism. So you have to remember the year of it, like Gabriel Almond. Okay, Gabriel Almond book, your the civic culture. We need to remember that things. Okay, so these are the important books, and we need to remember that being that year, which can be easily converted in question, because all remembering all books is not practically possible, and it's not going to be utility in the examination. Okay, so that is our objective, and we have to remember also the what is behavioralism, how it originates, why it needs of behavioralism, behavioral movement, that we need to focus when we going to cover the theory. Okay, so that is the idea. Then moving to the next question. Question like the book written by Harold Laswell. Okay, so option A, Process of Government, the Science and Method in Politics. C, Politics, Who Gets What and When and How, and the Wealth of Nation. So who basically the book of Harold Laswell. Okay, so hope this is your question, and option C is the answer. Here we notice that we will discuss when you cover the different approaches to the comparative politics. Say for example, institutional approach, like with your the like modernization approach, like behavioral approach. So we different thinker are comes under this approach, and we will try to cover the important thinker and their book and key idea. Okay, that you can we will cover. Okay, moving to the next, the statement like it is better to be vague than irrelevant, it goes to what? Talks, the statement is talks about it is better to be vague than irrelevant. It's the argument, it belongs to whom? So option A, behavioralism, post behavioralism, positive empiricism. So the answer, what is the answer? Okay, as we all know, the answer of this question is the post behavioralism. So, okay, so what is this statement? It is better to vague than irrelevant. Okay, so they basically talks about the political system should be understood on the basis of not only the fact, but reconcile both the fact and value. It's important to study the political system on the basis of, yes, empirical scientific study, along with the human value, along with the value loaded political science, because value is presents the human perspectives, the ideal society concept. Okay, and we can't ignore the human value, because the research, who doing the research, also humans. Don't we think that human value can be there? So that is the context here, and we'll discuss the post behavioralism also. Then it's repetitive. The who is known as the intellectual godfather of behavioralism, all know Charles E. Merriam. There is no need to like here confuse. Okay, then moving to the next question: which one philosophy not concerned with the post behavioralism? See, in SSP, they quite interesting ask about behavioralism, post behavioralism, traditional approaches, different books. So we will discuss that thing, okay, because that's important. So behavioral post behavioralism is not related to the values. Okay, okay. You will ask me, sir. You told us that post behavioralism reconcile with the value and fact. How it's not value? See, it's not only value, fact plus value, both are the main crux of the post behavioralism. So the question is like appropriate here. The value is not part of the post behavioralism. Yes, involvement of the political activity, like political participation, like your politicization of the profession, that related to post behavioralism. Freedom and equality is related to the post behavioralism. If you remember, as I told you that in your Kautilya class, that equality, rights, these are the contemporary era concept. Okay, but in the traditional approach there is no equality, because there is inequality. People are not study the political system on the basis of third world country. Okay, how can you say that there is equality? Because they are not study, they are make the study on the basis of only the westerns, so there is a inequality. Okay, so that is how equality and freedom belong to the post behavioralism. And issue of justice also, because nowadays justice is the crux. Social justice means what? That to eliminate the inequality, treat the human, okay, so as a the but man human. Okay, so that is the main cross of the post behavioralism. We'll discuss that thing, what is post behavioralism, the seven principle of the post behavioralism. Okay, then moving to the next, examine the statement that identify the correct one. Okay, institutional approach emphasize the future of the human society. No, it's wrong. It's wrong, because institutional approach is a traditional approach. Okay, then philosophical approach is speculative and abstract. Is, yes, it's correct, it's imaginative, like for example Plato, the speculation, abstract, ideal states. Behavioral approach is response to the poor achievement of conventional political science. Okay, yes, correct. Behavioralism emerges that because there is a not proper study, it's only based on the statistic or the European study. That's why behavioral approach emerged. So option B, D is answer. Both first and the third, both second and third is correct. Okay, we will discuss all the thing, what is behavioralism, traditional approach, philosophical approach. Okay, so just be patient. Okay, moving to the next question. The traditional approach to study of the political science give emphasis to what? Its value. Option B is answer. So you can confirm here that post behavioralism not values only, but both fact and values. Moving to the next, who is accepted as intellectual god? It's a repeated question. Then one of the latest question, which is going to a very dynamic question. In the year 1960, the use of structural functionalism by the Almond and Powell was an application of Eastern framework political system, Lucien Pai modernization theory, then Robert Dahl polyarchy, then Talcott Parsons theory of functionalism. Okay, so the answer of this question is like basically option A and the D. Okay, so both is answer according to the official key, and both are correct also. Okay, so we will discuss that thing. So okay, we have completed the all the previous year question, and we analyze that the pattern of question with respect to approaches to comparative politics, different book statement here. Okay, that I am going to quickly cover in the theory session. Please don't skip the video and don't leave here. Although the video is going to be long, but it's very important and very helpful for the examination only. Okay, those are serious candidate, please stay with until the last. Okay, so let's start our discussion. Introduction first. So comparative politics as a sub-disciplines like political theory and international relation in political science. Okay, as I said that comparative politics is a subdiscipline of the our political science only. So that is not going to they ask, but what they will ask here, the question can frame like Jean Blondel. Okay, Blondel classified the phases of comparative politics to 1750 1750 1750, that is the normative philosophical, that based on the value. As I said, it's based on the basically value laden. Okay, then speculation, contemplation. Okay, so the according to Jean Blondel, simply they can ask the question, who classified the 1750 period as a normative philosophical, and basically for 50 to 1940 based on realistic or constitutional. Okay, that can possible, that Jean Blondel, you need to remember, Jean Blondel classified 1750s as a basically philosophical or normative approaches to comparative politics, and 17 mid 1850 mid in 18 to 1914 as a realistic and constitutional. Okay, that question can be there. Do remember Jean Blondel name. Okay, and what is philosophical, what is basically normative, because they believe in value laden, they believe in what should be rather than what is. They not believe in reality. For example, Plato's idea is something not reality, it's ideal, it's too much thinking, speculation. Plato like something create on their own mind, there is no reality. So that is how the speculation, value laden, contemplations. Okay, that is the philosophical and normative approach as they asked in our examination. Then we will discuss the basically the evolution of the comparative politics and comparative government. Okay, so the first we will see the classical approach. So classical approach is basically, or traditional approach, known as a narrow and legal based study. Okay, classical and it's basically traditional approach, as I already said, they are legal. Okay, they are legal and narrow based study. Okay, and here Raw Macready criticized. So Raw Macready is not supporter of the traditional approach. He criticized it, and he talks about the traditional approach include the principle of what, the non-comparative. Okay, then descriptive, then monographic, parochial, and statics. Okay, so according to the Raw Macready, the traditional approach is based on non-comparative, descriptive, monographic, parochial, static. These are the five principles. Okay, non-comparative, descriptive, monographic, parochial, statics, that basically the principle of the traditional approach. Do remember that thing, can be asked in your examination. Okay, then you will see the difference. Okay, the difference of old or the traditional or pre-modern approach versus new institutionalism approach. What is the difference between the things? So it focus on the institution based study with a formal, okay, legal and descriptive, as I already said, with no hypothesis testing. So it is not building any theory. Do remember, old and traditional approach is not building any theory, it's too much static in nature. But new institutionalism focus on the institution with individual behavior in connection to empirical and the theory building. So it is based on empirical along with the theory building. Empirical means what, that thing we can experience, the thing which can observable, the thing which are present in their reality. That is how new institutionalism. And new institutionalism approach also include the social, cultural, cross national with a multidisciplinary study. Okay, so one hand, new institutionalism approach based on the study of a culture, social aspects, and including the different discipline like sociology, psychology. Okay, sociology means like the social context, psychology how people thinks, how people behave. Okay, what is their social context, sociology. So this different discipline are included in these approaches under the new socialism. But on the other hand, traditional or the pre-modern approach which emphasize only ethnocentric based study. Ethnocentric means what, like based on the way of living, the race, religion, culture of the western country only. Okay, so it's not include the study of the third world country, the newly independent country. Okay, so that is the pre-modern approach or the old or traditional approach. Okay, so if it clear, then we will move to the behavioralism and post behavioralism, which is going to be very very important. Okay, let's see the first behavioralism. So behavioralism basically originated during the Second World War in 1950s as a critique to the traditional approach, which is specific focus to the Eurocentric study. Okay, behavioralism originated against the traditional approach like we study already. And which year it originated? It's 1950s. That is the era of during the what, end of the Second World War, or the decolonization process started 1950s only. So there the need of the behavioralism, because initial study based not the third world country, because newly developing country are get independent, so there is a requirement the different kind of study, the culture are different. That's why the behavioralism as a political ideology in comparative politics emerged. Okay, okay. Then behavioralism believes in value free. Okay, do remember the word value free. What is value free? So traditional approach, we need to understand the traditional approach. Traditional approach which is based on the value. That value means human value. That is based on what is, then what should be. Like here we mention, you can see that it believes what is the reality, then what should be. The reality is important. What the things exist. What is the reality that exist in the society rather than what should be. Okay, just thinking in the mind that we will uh, uh, can study the politics of the third world country by only studying the western country, that is not important, that is not possible. It is only should be, it's a ideal, it's a value. Value means what, something ideal or contemplation or thinking. But the value free means that based on the reality, the study. Okay, the reality study, scientific study. Okay, that based on reality. Moving to the next point, and here method of study include quantitative, empirical study, and the uniformity of behavior and natural science. So they basically bring a study, okay, from the, like the study of natural science, like biology. Like there is a human body have a different organization, and each and every organization have a performing the different activity. Similarly, to study a political system, we have to need to study its different angle, its socio-cultural context, its the context of your the culture. Okay, context of the religion, ethnicity, language, that all need to be studied. So it here, if you will ask, sir, does new institutionalism and behavioralism are the both similar context? Like new institutionalism also believe in the cultural based study, interdisciplinary study. I will say no. In new institutionalism, which includes the both approach, your traditional and behavioralism, but here behavioralism approach is specific, a critique to the traditional approach. So do remember that things. Then moving to the next. Okay, okay. So behavioralism hella. First we will discuss the the traditional approach. Then we will discuss the behavioralism approach. Okay, as a critique to the traditional approach. Then after behavioralism, what is emerged? Because behavioralism also certain limitations. Okay, each and everything limitations. Then post behavioralism is emerged as a critique to the behavioralism, and it emerged in 1970s and 1980s. It originated as an extension of behavioralism. Do remember this word. Most of people believes that post behavioralism is a critique to the behavioralism. Okay, so post behavioralism like is not a critique to the behavioralism. Okay, as I said, it's like my mistake that behavior post behavioralism is something extend the behavioralism like principles. Okay, it basically further a modification of the ideology of behavioralism. It's not a critique. Do remember that thing, because question here frame, and it reconcile both values and the individual behavior oriented study. Okay, do remember, because you will see the traditional approach based on the value, human value, but post behavioralism not only includes value but also including the fact or empirical study. Okay, okay, that's why here you will ask, sir, there is a mention that post behavioralism is not include value, as we see in the screen. Yes, it's not only value but it includes both value and fact. Do you remember that things? Okay, then there is a seven principle of the post behavioralism. Seven principle of post behavioralism, like substance, social change, reality, value, loaded political science, human value and action science, then politicization of the profession. These are the 7 credo principle of the post behavioralism can be asked in your examination. Okay, what does it mean by the politicization of the profession? As you know, in the question we see there is involvement of the political activity, that is the politicization of the profession. That means to uh, includes the political, okay, system with the, like it's a due professionalism, that there will be experts, there will be a differentiation of the functions, there will be a division of the labor, okay, then the political development will can be possible, and the participation of the people, inclusion of the interest of the people. So that is the politicization of the professions. Okay, that is the part of the post behavioralism. Simply they can ask the question, the politicization of profession, is it the principle of behavioralism or post behavioralism? They will confuse you, so you have to remember the post behavioralism. Okay, so this is the main crux of the behavioralism and the post behavioralism, the general idea. Okay, then moving to the thinker and contribution. So we will discuss the few of thinker and then contribution. First we will see Almond and Sidney Verba, the political culture. So they developed the political culture approach with the study of the 5 nations including USA, UK, Germany, Italy, Mexico. Okay, so Mexico, Italy, Germany, USA, the 5 nations basically comparatively studied by Almond and the Sidney Verba. Okay, and include the 3 orientation like cognitive, effective and evaluative. How they did study this nation? Now through the method of a cognitive method, effective method, evaluative method. These are the methods which basically used by them for studying these 5 nations. Simply you can get question, how many nations and which of the following country are used by Almond, Gabriel Almond or the Sidney Behra study or not. So simply you can get the question. And their study basically introduce the 3 type of culture, that is parochial, subject and participative culture. Okay, so let me quickly explain you the parochial culture. There is no political participation. Subject culture, there is a little political participation. And participative culture, the people are voluntarily participate, the voluntary association, civil society. So that is how USA is the example. So here you can get the question, the 3 type of cultures basically identify whom. So they will write down Almond and Verba, Almond and Powell, Almond and basically Coleman. So you have to remember it's Almond and the Sidney Verba. Don't get confused. Okay, hope you understand. Then moving to the next point, Almond and Powell. Okay, Almond and Powell, structural functionalism approach. Okay, so in 1960s, the Almond and Powell developed the study of structural functionalism approach with influence from David Heston and Talcott Parson. Okay, so one thing hierarchy you need to remember. First, the Talcott Parson basically talk about the system. Okay, the system basically approaches. Okay, structural functional approach. Okay, then from the Talcott Parson, the functionalism approach, David Heston influence from the Talcott Parson. From the David Heston along with the Talcott Parson, uh, the Almond and Powell basically derive the idea. So this is how the chronology, and they ask in your examination question. Okay, I am explaining here. These things are there in questions, so you have to remember. What is the another thing? In a politics of developing area and comparative politics and developmental approach, the 2 important book that evidence for structural functionalism approach. So these are the important 2 books which describe the structural functional approach by Almond and Powell. Okay, and if you ask me that what is the structural functional approach, I have already took a video on it in the YT session under the where under we discuss the political sociology. We discuss the structural functionalism approach, so there you can cover that thing. Then moving to the next point, Almond classified the stages of the political development in the 4 steps. What are that? Primitive, traditional, transitional and modern. So simply you can get the question, which of the following is the steps or not in the political development as classified by Almond. So that can be possible. Then now I am going to provide you a table in which I am going to discuss the different thinker and their key books and the contribution and the concept, and that's going to very important in examination. If you notice, a lot of match of the correct incorrect pair wala question are there in our examination. So you need to prepare in such a way, like here this side is thinker and this side is basically the key idea and books. Okay, so here you can see Lord James Bryce wrote a book Modern Democracy. Okay, Modern Democracy Bryce. Herman Finner wrote a book Theory and Practice of the Modern Government, and Carl Friedrich wrote a book Constitutional Government and Democracy. And these scholars belong to the institutional approaches to the comparative politics. So these are the above scholars who belong to the basically institutional approach to the comparative politics. So here you will ask me, sir, how can remember all this book? There is a one solution, that you need to make the practice of these things, because these are the factual things. There is no need to understanding. If there, then I will try to understand you, but you need to remember that you have to practice the, like these things, that you have to make the own question, that match of the following question, this side thinker, this side books, and in that process you can basically remember that thing. Okay, that is how the things. And if simply you can participate in the quiz session also, which I am providing, so that there you can basically develop the idea. Then moving the next, here Daniel Karamani, this statement we have already discussed. This is the previous year question. Just basically remember that thing. And what can be the expected question as this statement they ask? So the expected question can be, the comparative politics is connected with the study of all form of government as well as the non-governmental political activity. Who said? It's Ronald Chilcott. Okay, Ronald Chilcott says that the comparative politics not only include the governmental activity but also the non-governmental political activity. So Ronald Chilcott, it's a famous definition, can be asked. Okay, and the book of Daniel Karamani, because Daniel Karamani is an important thinker in the study of comparative politics. So the book Europeanization of the Politics is an important book and famous book also. And comparative politics, these are the two important books written by Daniel Karamani. Can be asked in your examination. So please remember that thing. Then your Lucian Pai wrote a book Political Culture and Political Development, and also the aspect of the political development. These are the two important books, and he's presented the six crises to the development theory. What is the six crisis to the development theory? The six crises. What are the six crises? They can ask the question. The six crises including your identity crisis, your penetration crisis, legitimation crisis, then participation crisis, integration crisis, distribution crisis. Okay, these are the six crisis by Lucian Pai. Okay, so pinit identity means what? Now people's in northeastern, you can say the tribal are basically mobilizing, that is identity crisis. Okay, caste based political participation. Then your legitimation crisis, if people are not trust over the government activity, though although the government is basically established through elected form, that is your legitimation crisis. What is penetration crisis? If the government are not able to reach to the people, that is how the legitimation crisis in the political development. Okay, then what is the your participation crisis? If people are not participates, people's interest are not included in the public policy, that is how participation crisis. Then what is distribution crisis and integration crisis? That all the sections interest are not included, that is how the integration crisis. So these are the six crises to the political development given by Lucian Pai. Please remember that thing. Then moving to the next point, Sidney Verma, Small Groups and Political Behavior. It's an important book. Then Gabriel Almond wrote a book, The Civic Culture, Political Attitude and Democracy in Five Nations. Okay, Democracy in Five Nations in 1963. Do remember that year? They can ask the question, in which year the civic culture was written. So 1963. Okay. Moving to the next, David After, one of the important scholar of the political modernization, he wrote a book Politics of Modernization. Already question asked. Okay, now they can ask the question, in which year? 1965, because it's important book. It's an important book, famous book. So political modernization by David After. David After, political modernization, in which year? 1965, the political modernization. And use the structural functional approach. Simply they can ask the question, which of the following thing or use the structural functional approach to study the political development or the comparative politics? You have to remember David After, then your Gabriel Almond, Talcott Parson, then David Easton. Lot of thinker are use that things, structural functional. Then SN Ascendant. SN Ascendant is important thinker who basically wrote a book Modernization, Protest and Change. Okay, that's the important book, and to him differentiation is not alternative to decay, can be asked. Okay, then Coleman. Okay, Coleman basically famous for the concept development syndrome, and he basically wrote a book what, the crisis and sequence. So this is the important book of the Coleman. Okay, development syndrome, uh, and the crisis and sequence related to Coleman. Okay, Coleman development syndrome, the book crisis and sequence. Okay, then Huntington, political order in changing society, already asked. Then class of civilization, these are the important book of the Huntington, and these above mentioned scholar belong to the study of modernization. Okay, modernization, and also Edward said, then your F Organskix, Max Weber, Talcott Parson, Rostway, these are also the prominent to this field. Okay, so modernization scholars include these scholar. Okay, for example David Hafter, ascended Coleman, Huntington, Edward said, F Organskix, Max Weber, Talcott Parson, Rostway. The important thing, simply they can ask the question, which of the following thinkers are include in the political modernization or not, so that can be possible. So you have to remember that thing as well. Okay, moving to the next. So David Heston developed the system theory, an influence from the Talcott Parson theory of functionalism. Simply they can ask the question, David Heston after influence from whom, so you have to remember Talcott Parson functionalism theory. Okay, because like that is a trend of the question, like Rawls influence from whom or not, like your Gabriel Almond influence from whom or not. So this is the trend of question. Okay, then Francis Fukuyama, who wrote a book End of History and the Last Man. This was an article. Then in 1992 it was published in the as a form of the book, and he highlighted that described the collapse of USSR marked as a ideological victory of Western lead liberal ideology. So your distinction of USSR resulted into the victory of liberal ideology, victory of democracy. The process of democratization has been seen since the disintegration of USSR. So this is the concept given by Francis Fukuyama. Lot of time asked in your UGC net, can be asked. Okay, in the upcoming SSB examination. Then A.G. Frank, the proponent of dependency theory, as a critic to the modernization, because we are following the sequence here: first traditional, then modernization, then dependency. Okay, A.G. Frank, the proponent of dependence theory, and who wrote a book Capitalism and Underdevelopment in Latin America. Then Walter Rodney, the book How Europe Underdeveloped Asia. Walter Rodney. Okay, then Gullimore O'Donnell is the bureaucratic authoritarianism. So Donnell books bureaucratic authoritarianism. Do remember that thing. Then Ralph Miliband, The State in Capitalist Society. So this book written by whom? State in Capitalist Society, Ralph Miliband. State in Capitalist Society. Then Charles Merriam, the legend, okay, the intellectual father of behavioralism or godfather of behavioralism, and wrote a book New Aspect of the Politics in the year of 1925. Please remember this year. Can be asked 1925. Charles Merriam, the New Aspect of Politics, the intellectual father of behavioralism. Then Harold Laswell, student of Merriam, student of Charles Merriam. Laswell, student of Charles Merriam. Okay, and belongs to Chicago school. Like the question, behavioralism is emerged from where? It's Chicago school only, USA. Okay, then book by the Harold Laswell, all know politics, who gets when and how and what. Okay, politics, who gets what, when and how. Okay, so this is all about your comparative politics. Okay, so with respect to all, we discussed successfully all the thing. Hope you basically get the valuable insight from this lesson, and I am stopping myself from here only because it's going too long, and because trust me, it's going to very helpful in your examination. Okay, if you will go there in examination, you will see. And lastly, there is a 2 homework question from my side. So as you participate in the homework question, so I am also putting extra effort from my side, that 2 homework question for you this time. That which of the following work represent the racial and civilizational superiority and Eurocentric in natures. Okay, you need to find out the which books present the ideology of racial and civilizational superiority and Eurocentric in nature: constitutional government and the democracy, theory and practice of the modern government, and the modern democracy. And option D is all of the above. So you need to provide the answer in comment section. So what is the correct answer of this question? Okay, that which book belongs to the racial and civilizational superiority and Eurocentric natures. Then moving to the next question, that this is also homework question. Which approach to comparative politics reconcile the both horizontal and vertical based study? Okay, which approach comparative politics include these things? Horizontal, also vertical, both include. Okay, both include. So option A traditional approach, B modern approach, C both and A, B, and D none of the above. So you need to provide the answer in comment section as we you providing the answer. Okay, you are providing the answer. So then I will tell you the answer in the last session, and tomorrow is going to be our last session of the comparative politics. There you will get the most expected question, and we are going to cover and this session in the Sunday only. Okay, so uh, be there in the basically upcoming classes. Thank you everyone for being the part of it. Please make the note of it, and the PDF I will guarantee you, the PDF you will get at the Telegram session. So do join our Telegram ID Tapas Kumar Pradhan ki Pathshala. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.